So like I said before, in my top 5 movies, I bought tons of Blu-rays over the past few months. And let's get started. Now the first movie I got up is Meet the Parents. Now the only thing I gotta say about this movie is this. It's realistically funny. The next movie I got up, I got it at a deal at Best Buy. And that's Oceans 1, 2, and 3. Oceans 1, I like. Oceans 11, I liked. I really loved it. Oceans 2, Ocean 3, it was okay. I enjoyed it. Now, there's certain movies you get as a kid, no matter how bad or how good they actually are, but you just love them as a kid. And this was one of the movies for me, and that's Home Alone 1 and 2. I love this movie as a kid. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, no matter how bad, how cheesy it could be. For me, I think it's just a classic for me as a kid. For me, I think it's just a kid's classic. I just absolutely love this movie. Like I said before, I'm going to do a lot more videos for you guys, and some of these videos are going to be coming from these particular movies. And one thing I gotta say about this is I got a good deal, and what I gotta say about the movie, the first movie, action classic. That's all I gotta say about this. Action classic. You'll find out more why I feel that way in my later reviews later this month. Now this is probably like the only movie I like of this director, and that's Joe Schumacher's Phone Booth. I found it entertaining for a movie to stay in one place, and I thought he did a good job in directing this film, and along with the guy from 24. I can't remember his name, but he has like a sinister voice in this movie, and you can't even tell that it's actually him. But Phone Booth is one of those entertaining movies that I really like from Joe Schumacher. Or next movie I got is one of the best war movies ever, and that's Black Hawk Down. Now another war movie I got is done by Catherine Bigelow, and I guess you guessed it, The Hurt Locker. I thought Jeremy Renner was he did a great performance in this movie, along with Anthony Mackie. I forgot the other guy's name. Of course, I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I had to get this on Blu-ray. Is Inception. Now I already had this on DVD, but I said if this is one of my favorite movies, second all time, then I have to get it on Blu-ray. Love Inception. You know how I feel about this. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. This makes me feel that Christopher Nolan is one of the best directors out there. Hands down, period. The next movie I got is a movie that we all can relate to some way or fashion. If you have a bad teacher or even a bad boss. And that movie is Horrible Bosses. I thought this movie was funny and very relatable to anyone who has a bad teacher, boss, or even a horrible friend. And I thought Jennifer Aniston was really good in this movie. The next movie I got is kind of recommended to me because he's directing Iron Man 3. He did some of the Lethal Weapon movies. And that movie is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Now for me, I thought this movie was okay. I give it about 3.5 or 4 out of 5 stars. I thought this movie was an okay movie. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's as great as people say it could be. But like I said before, 3.5 out of 4 stars. The next movie I got is a subject that I'm not really interested in, but when I saw this movie, I thought it kept me entertained throughout the whole entire film, and that's The Ides of March. This movie I got as a blind buy. I got it from Best Buy. It cost like $3. I said $3 for a good movie, I'll pick it up. Now that movie is No Country for Old Men. Now, like I said before, it was a blind buy for me. I enjoyed it throughout. For the most part, I think Javier Bardem did a good job in his performance. But for me personally, I thought that this movie is slightly overrated, and I hated the ending. I thought the ending was like open-ended. I thought the ending could be a lot better than what it was. I really thought it was open-ended, and I hated it. It kind of left you wanting more and see what happens to all these characters. And the characters were never in the same scene together. And I didn't really like that as much. But for me, No Country for Old Men, I thought it was an okay movie, but for me, it didn't do it for me as a Western. The next movie I got up, I think, is a very underrated movie by Martin Scorsese. And that movie is Shutter Island, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. I thought this movie was really good and very underrated. One of the most underrated movies from Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio. Not a lot of people talk about this movie. Now this movie I just had to get on Blu-ray. One of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Back to the Future. If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend you watching this movie. This is a movie that changed my childhood forever. And one thing about this movie, what changed my life about this movie, is that I always thought that by 2000, that I thought it was a hit mark or like a little standard mark where cars would start flying. And by 2015, we still got 3 more years or 2 more years before cars can start flying. I'm not getting my hopes up because in the movie in 2015, cars fly. And I'm hoping that by 2015, that they predicted the future, that cars will fly. One of the greatest movies ever made. First movie, 5 out of 5. Second movie, I gave it 4.5 out of 5. And, no, not even. Second movie, 5 out of 5. And the third movie, 4 out of 5. All solid movies by Robert Zemeckis and produced by the one and only Steven Spielberg. Love this movie. If you haven't had this movie in your collection, you cannot have your collection. Your movie collection is not complete if you don't have Back to the Future. One of the greatest movies ever made, hands down. Next movie I got up is my second favorite movie, my second favorite comedy of 2012, and that's Ted. The next movie I got up is The Expendables 2. Now this movie is cheesy, probably got a low rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but I enjoyed it. It lived up to what we want in an action movie starring all the old action stars like Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all those other good guys. This is what I wanted from the first one. And there's a scene in this movie that I felt that it's iconic. We have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and Bruce Willis all in one scene together taking down bad guys. One of my favorite scenes of 2012. That scene right there when they're at the airport, just absolutely loved it. Now since buying Expendables 2, it made me buy some of the old action 80s movies. And that movie is First Blood and Predator. Predator is such a great movie. You don't even realize it. It's an action movie, but this movie has heart. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It has actually good character development and good action. If you look at the special features in this movie, you see how good it actually was. And it's directed by one of my other favorite action directors, John McTiernan, who actually directed my favorite all-time movie, Die Hard. Last but not least, the movie I picked up. Now I liked it, didn't love it. I bought The Amazing Spider-Man. Now this movie is darker than the first 3 Spider-Mans. I particularly liked it. I didn't fall in love with it like I said before. I thought it was overall a good movie. I don't like it as much as the first and second Spider-Mans by Sam Raimi. So those are my Blu-rays that I picked up for the last few months. So if you haven't seen my top 5 movies of 2012, I'll leave an annotation around the screen somewhere so you can click on that. And stay tuned for a big month of January. If you like this video, please rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, Movie Nation.